What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope we are all doing super well. I want to talk about Disc Priest really quickly, and now that we've had the announcement from Blizzard that the 10.2 patch is coming November 7th, and then the new season will start November 14th. If you missed the last video, go check that one out. I want to talk about some of the different specs in the game and how I think that they're going to be looking now. Generally speaking, when Blizzard makes an announcement for when the next patch is coming, they're kind of done with a lot of the major tuning. We might still see some minor tuning here and there, but generally speaking, I think it's a good assumption to say that Blizzard's probably done with their tuning. By the way, this tier set bonus is so cool. It leaves trails of like, I don't even know. This is such a cool tier set bonus. But I want to talk about Disc Priest in particular, and especially I want to talk about resource generation, talking about mana. Mana's a really big deal, and in 10.2, they're making some big changes to mana. So they basically talk here, Blizzard, about wanting to make sure that the choices that healers are making are like interesting, and they also want healers to always be thinking about their mana. So at the core, we want healers to have interesting abilities and choices to make while healing, and we want you to have to manage your mana pool. So they made some big changes to single target healing, and they reduced the power of group healing, and then they also reduced the power of mana regeneration in general. And I have a little graphic I'll just pull up here. Nope, it was right there. Here we go. And this is basically the nerfs that have come through for 10.2 so far on mana in particular. So we'll take a look. That's too big now. We'll take a look at this. So Resto Druid, the duration of Innervate went down by 2 seconds. So that is a nerf to your mana regeneration, because Innervate makes your spells free and you're missing 2 seconds of that. You're losing 20%, not 20%, sorry. You're losing 2 seconds off of that, and you know, it is actually 20% of the duration. So it's not the end of the world, but it is something. Paladin Daybreak is losing some of its mana regeneration from Glimmer. It went down from 3,000 down to 2,000, which is quite a bit. And then Reclamation is another talent that they have. Make sure Crusader Strike and your Holy Shock give you mana back. That's going down by 3%. Instead of 15, it's 12. Holy Priest is losing Symbol of Hope value, which is pretty dumb, honestly. Like, I don't think this was really required. But anyway, Holy Priest is going to get less mana back. Resto Shaman's getting the biggest smack, I think. Mana Spring is reduced a little bit, and then Mana Tide Totem gives you less. Nobody really took Mana Tide Totem anyway, but the big one is Resurgence. Now restores 20% less mana as well. Blizzard really wants you to have to grapple with your mana as a healer to be something you're consciously thinking about, which is fine. Also, Mana Tea for Mistweaver got nerfed a little bit, but I couldn't find it in the notes, but I know that it got nerfed a little bit because I was playing around with it. So Mana Tea gives you a little bit less as well. Now, the two specs that didn't get any nerfs from what I can see is Preservation Evoker and Disc Priest, as you can see over here. And Discipline Priest in particular, I just think is getting the absolute sweetest deal out of any of the healers. And when it comes to mana regeneration, this is a really important thing for Mythic Plus. It's good for Raid as well. Very important for Raid for fights that are really, really long. But in Mythic Plus, when you're moving from pack to pack to pack, you really don't want to be stopping and sitting and drinking. It really, like, kind of destroys the vibe. It's really frustrating if the team is constantly having to sit and wait for you to finish your mana. Or else you have to get really, really good about picking your spot and sitting down at the right time and drinking. Or you have to play like Night Fae and be able to go invisible out of combat and then start drinking. Those kinds of little tricks are all good. What would be ideal is if you don't have to drink at all. If you can just kind of get through with the mana regeneration that Blizzard is providing you with your kit. And oh my god, Discipline Priest has the best, I think, now out of any healer for sure. First of all, they are losing Power Word Solace. It used to be up in the middle of the tree here. You're losing that spell, which used to give you mana back, 1% of your mana. So you are losing that, but that's okay because you've got Shield Discipline still, which is kind of bugged on this right now. But it gives you 0.5% of your maximum mana back, which is 2,500 mana. So if you go into a Rapture window and you're Power Word shielding everybody, that costs you 6,000 mana, but then it's going to subtract 2,500. So it only ends up being actually 3,500? Yeah, 3,500 mana to cast each Power Word shield. That's a really, really big reduction, which is awesome, just because of this Shield Discipline one here. On top of that, of course, the biggest one I want to talk about is Mindbender. This thing restores 0.2% of your mana each time it attacks. You can extend the duration of Mindbender with Inescapable Torment every time you cast Penance, Mind Blast, or Shadow or Death. Make sure Mindbender do a bunch of damage and also extend by 1 second, which means you're going to get even more mana back, which is a really, really big deal. And the absolute biggest icing on the cake here is that your Smite, Mind Blast, and Penance reduce the cooldown of Mindbender by 2 seconds. This is a 1 minute cooldown. It realistically ends up being about a 20 to 25 second cooldown, which means you can cast it again, which means you're getting all your mana back again. I just tested on the dummy for a long time here, and I should see what I got in my mana back. I got a whole bunch of mana back from Mana Leech and from Shield Discipline. And I did another big pull. Was it this one here? See if I can go to this one here. Yeah, again, getting mana back as well. This is the mana restore 26k. It's just a ton of mana. You basically never, ever, ever feel like you're running out of mana when you're running on Disc Priest because of the uptime on Mindbender now. And this is even crazier when you consider the tier set bonus that's coming with Discipline Priest. So my first big point that I want to make is that a lot of these specs are getting nerfed on the mana front, on the mana regeneration, and Discipline Priest basically isn't at all. In fact, they're going to have more mana regeneration than any spec hands down because their tier set bonus kind of forces you to take Mindbender because of the way that the talents have been reshuffled. So the 4 set bonus says Smite has a 100% chance to cast an additional time during Shadow Covenant. What's Shadow Covenant? Well, it's over here. This used to be an ability that you had to press one of your setup buttons for your big ramp window, but you don't have to press it anymore. You also don't have to press Schism anymore. They made both of those things passive, and they tied them into Mindbender. Your Mindbender enters you into a shadowy pack, transforming Halo, Divine Star, and Penance into shadow spells and increasing your damage and healing of your shadow spells by 20%. Schism is just tied to Mind Blast, so it's passive. It's not tied to Shadow Fiend. But the point is, you cast your Mindbender, and it gives you this Shadow Covenant, and this is now tied to the 4-piece of your tier set bonus, which says Smite will cast twice. When Smite casts twice, guess what it does? It's going to reduce the cooldown of your Mindbender. That second cast of Smite will reduce the cooldown of your Mindbender, which again means you're going to have more uptime on your Mindbender, which equals more mana return for you, which means you can just sort of be liberal in spamming your spells and not worry about your mana at all because you're constantly getting the extra mana back, the extra return. Watch this. If I just cast my Mindbender, watch the cooldown on Mindbender. I'm just going to Smite. Look at it. 56, 54, 51, 49, 46, 44, 40, 39, 37. Like, this is obviously not ideal. I'm just casting Smite. I get it. But I'll show you in a real rotation in a second. Mindbender's already back. I can cast it again. My first Mindbender was literally just finishing there. He was just about done. Okay? And I was getting the cooldown back. Now, a lot of people, when they first saw the Discipline Priest tier set bonus, they weren't really happy about it at all because they're like, I don't want to have to cast Smite. Smite is not like the best button to be pressing all the time. That has changed. I promise you, that has actually changed. I did a testing where I stood in front of the Dungeoneer training dummy, the one that actually hits you, and I just looked at the healing that I was getting. Look at Sanctuary healing. This is a new talent that's come in. Smite prevents the next 10.3k damage dealt by the enemy. Guess what? If you're getting 2 Smites because of the 4-piece bonus here, that second Smite will add to the Sanctuary shield that you're getting, the damage that you're preventing on the enemy. It'll prevent 20,000 damage instead of 10,000. So, not only is the second Smite going to reduce the cooldown of Mindbender a second time, giving you more mana regen, more uptime on Mindbender, it's also going to proc Sanctuary a second time, reducing the damage that you take, which is completely crazy. So if we just hit this boss, I'm going to shield myself, and then I'm going to cast Mindbender, and then we're just going to Smite for a little bit. I'll cast other stuff too. We'll do Shadow or Death. We'll do a Mind Blast. We'll do a Penance. But guess what? I'm just going to Smite, and he's going to get a little symbol here, Sanctuary. 10,000, 20,000, 20,000, 30,000, 16. Look at how much damage I'm preventing. He can't even get an attack through yet. I haven't taken any damage yet, and guess what? Mindbender's back. Now I'm going to be double casting Smite again, and that Sanctuary is going to double 24, 34,000, 10, 20, 20, 30. Like, this is insane. This is not ideal. I understand that. You're not going to be casting like this all the time. This would be kind of lunacy. But the point is, you're double cooling down Mindbender, and you're also getting this double Sanctuary proc, and the final nail in the coffin is the 2-piece bonus, is that your Smite will extend the duration of one active atonement that you have. And if you're getting double casts of Smite, they will be extending the duration of atonement twice. Look at my atonement. It's at 30 seconds. It's capped out right now. It keeps extending. I'm going to let it just die for a second. I'm just going to heal myself. Oh, shit. I'm going to keep applying atonement. I'm going to do this. So we're going to let our atonement go down a little bit. Now watch this. We're going to go Mindbender. Watch my atonement. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 25, 25. It just goes way up, right? So a lot of your kit now kind of revolves around you casting Smite. You're going to be getting increased atonement. You're going to be getting double procs on Sanctuary, and you're going to be double cooling down your Mindbender. And whenever your Mindbender's up, that is when you have Shadow Covenant. That's when you're getting the double dip here. So you want to have your Mindbender up as much as humanly possible so that your Smite is double casting all the time, so that you're double dipping on all these bonuses that you're getting. The atonement stacking, the cooldown reduction, and of course the Sanctuary proc. It's just insane. Like this is completely insane. I'm standing in front of a dummy, a tanking dummy. I'm just tanking him as a Disc Priest just by pressing Smite, basically, because it prevents so much damage. Look at Sanctuary. This is so crazy. On top of that, the longer amount of time that you have your Mindbender up, the more he's going to heal from Essence Devourer. He heals with that new class down. You can see Essence Devourer going up here. It's really, really cool. He gets all this extra healing going on as well, and he's doing a bunch of damage. You're extending him. It's all really, really good, guys. I am telling you, if you are thinking of playing a healer in 10.2, Discipline Priest is going to be, I think, if it's not going to be the best healer in the game, it's going to be tied for the best healer in the game. Hands down. These new talent combos that it's gotten, with the little mini reworks that have gone on here, the mini rework being Schism going passive, Shadow Covenant being tied to your Mindbender now, Penance being added to Inescapable Torment, by the way, and then this new this new Sanctuary bonus. This is actually kind of an old Smite idea that has come back into the game. This is all really, really good. All these talent changes are wonderful. They're really, really good on the surface. The new big cooldown that we have, Ultimate Penitence, that's an amazing cooldown. Probably the best healing cooldown in the game right now. And then on top of that, they just gave you such an insane tier set bonus that synergizes so well with all the Smite stuff that's going in. All these new changes that have come in with Mindbender, activating Shadow Covenant. It all works with the tier set bonus in such a perfect way that it makes Discipline Priest an absolute powerhouse moving into 10.2. I think this is going to be the best healer in 10.2, if not tied for the best with maybe Holy Paladin. But honestly, I love everything they're doing. They made your ability to get into your ramp way easier. They took 2 buttons away that you don't have to press anymore. You just press this one button, Mindbender, and it basically does everything for you now. It activates your tier set bonus. It activates your Shadow Covenant. And it just makes everything feel really, really smooth like butter. So I think these new little combos, the talent reworks, the new tier set bonus, it all makes Discipline Priest an absolute standout healer. And if you're considering healing in 10.2 and you're not really sure which healer you want to go for Discipline Priest. I'm telling you, go play this spec. You will be really, really happy with your choice. It has so many cooldowns now. Mindbender is now a powerful, huge cooldown now that's going to be up every 25 seconds, every 20 seconds. You have Rapture, which is a massive cooldown, and again, you're getting all that mana back from Shield Discipline, but Rapture is still a huge cooldown. You can choose to take Luminous Barrier if you want. I think it's actually pretty strong, but you also have Power Word Barrier, which is amazing. It got nerfed a little bit from 25% to 20%, but it's still incredibly powerful in a raid scenario and even in a Mythic Plus scenario. And now, of course, you have this massive new cooldown, Ultimate Penitence, which I think is truly the best cooldown in the game. This is insane. Overloaded with Light, Ultimate Penitence emits an explosion of light, healing up to 10 allies for 23k and applying Atonement to all of them. Like, that's just completely bonkers. So, Discipline Priest has it all. They have the best mana regeneration in the game, amazing cooldowns, really good synergy with their talents, and their new tier set bonus. It's going to be incredible. Like, I think they're going to be so strong. So, if you're thinking about healing in 10.2, please pick up Discipline Priest. You're going to love it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you picked a healer for 10.2 yet? I would love to hear what healer you are picking in the comments down below. I hope maybe I've swayed you a little bit to think about Discipline Priest. If you weren't thinking about Discipline Priest before, are you going to think about Discipline Priest now? Please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.